it's Ashleigh from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and today I'm going to be showing you how to decorate a fall pie that looks super impressive but is actually really easy. Now, just a little pre-warning here, I don't know why, but my camera kept shutting off while I was filming, so some small parts are missing. But I will do my best to fully explain what I'm doing. So firstly, my husband and my daughter cut up all the apples for me, and I am making my salted caramel sauce here. I've made this salted caramel apple pie before, so I will put that tutorial link in the right-hand corner. Today's video is going to be mainly focusing on the decorating portion. I absolutely love this crust recipe, but you can really use whatever crust recipe you want and follow my directions. So as you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm really picking up that crust and I'm moving it around. I found when I first started making pie crust, my biggest mistake was allowing things to stick, and then I couldn't move my beautiful work afterwards. So you want to keep lifting it and shifting it around, and don't be afraid to add a lot of flour. One of the things I've learned over my pie adventures is really making sure that everything is super even. So if you have a rolling pin that allows you to kind of make sure that everything is even, use that. I unfortunately don't have one, but that's all right. Now what I did was I took my pan and I made sure to kind of leave a border around the edge, because what I want to do is make sure that that crust on the side is nice and thick. If you don't do that, then I find everything sinks into each other. This tucking in portion is really important. I found that when I just cut off the excess and don't tuck it in, it does not work. So you do want to make sure that you tuck it in. Then you want to make sure that you add any fillings that you're going to be using. Now, if you're making a cream pie, you're going to do this in a very different way. And I have an upcoming video which will show you how to decorate a cream pie much more intricately than you normally would. This pie, though, we're going to bake all at once. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to crimp the edges here, and all I'm doing is making a pinching motion with one hand and then using my other finger to press the crust into that pinch. Now it's time for the details, and I will say if you're wanting to get into more fancier crust and pie making, then you will need some sort of pastry cutter like this. It's perfect if you want to make lattice strips, and a selection of fondant and cookie cutters is always a good idea. So one of the mistakes that I made when I was first learning how to make a lattice pie crust was that I always cut it kind of inside the pie. You want to make sure that you leave an outer edge, because that pie crust is going to shrink just a little bit. So if you cut it off too much, then it's all going to kind of fall apart and your lattice will be too short. My apologies that you missed the portion where I was actually creating that lattice. The lattice itself is really easy. All you do is you just need to weave it in and out around each other, and it's fairly simple to do that. Your crust is very forgiving, so you can move it around as you see fit. Now I'm creating the leaves, and I don't have a cutter where it kind of imprints that is big enough, so I'm actually using my cake tool here to create those little veins on the maple leaf. You'll notice as well that I put some leaves on the bottom, and that was actually to make sure that that lattice stays in place. So whenever I'm putting things onto my pie, I really like to press things in. And I also like to use a little bit of water, or if you want things to adhere really well and it's a little bit more precarious, do use some egg white to adhere everything together. What I'm mostly doing here is I'm trying to cover up all those little lattice strips at the very end. I want to make sure everything looks very seamless. I think what makes this pie look impressive is when you use a lot of different types of leaves and foliage. You could just use one type, but I really like it when there's a variety. A lot of these fondant cutters that I'm using today are not for leaves at all, they're for flowers. But sometimes when you have a cutter, it doesn't have to be one thing. You could utilize it for anything that you want. If you watched my video the other day about baking products that I failed to use properly, this was one of them, a punch cutter. But I like this one because it does not have that spring inside of it. So you can easily punch it out and it doesn't break on you, and you can also take it apart for washing. You always want to come up with a direction for your pie. So for mine, I really wanted to keep it nice and whimsical and natural looking. The key to keeping all of that looking so fabulous and so beautiful is making sure that you leave it in the fridge for at least an hour before baking. The only other thing that my camera didn't catch was my roses. So to make those, I made them exactly how I make my fondant roses, except I didn't thin out the petals. Follow me on Instagram where I'm asking you guys to ask me any question you would like about baking or my life, and all of those answers will be shared in my 1,000 subscribers video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading daily, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. Bye!